Hey guys, let's start with another game of Minecraft. Really, it's just wheat. As far as you can see, well, maybe not that far. Pretty far though. We're just gonna work on some rivers for the day. Cause that's what we're doing right now. We're working on the rivers. And we've got some progress made with the one over here. Really, rivers are very aesthetic when they cut through the wheat field, right? And so here, this is like this chasm that already existed, this little ravine here. So we were just pushing through. The kelp is working, you know, it's all going very well. And here we can either go through. Whoa, that wasn't what I meant to do. Anyway. I refuse to carry my tools with me when I'm doing wheat. Underground river? Yes, indeed they do exist. And it would make it so I didn't need to worry too much about where we're going. But the problem is, we do want to connect. Oh, it's just right here. It's just right here. And of course, the wonderful thing about Rivermancy is once you get just a little bit of it going, it doesn't take too long to make all the rest of it happen. And just going a little bit deeper can get you all of the kelp stuff that you need, or water flow, or what have you. You can have a lot of kelp related needs here. Also, hello Luke. Hello Redwood Steve, how are you? It's good to see you both. And the benefits here, so initially when you're looking at this, you might be thinking, what's the function of going down? It is just to get more water flow, because when you have more water flow vertically over it, then you can get kelp blocks underneath it, and then they'll rise up into it, and that'll give you a rising tide that will take you far beyond your most reasonable dreams and more to like one of your more wild one of your more wild dreams. Probably not the wildest ones you've had. I don't know how much you've thought about putting a bunch of water down in Minecraft. I don't wanna lie to you. You may have been more ambitious than I have ever dreamed of being. But I sure do like making rivers. That pig I thought was like lava. I was confused. Alright, so before long, this kelp will just all grow when we're off doing something else. Probably. Probably. So we just want the level here to get better. We could be using more than one bucket. Is that much better than not using it? It doesn't feel like it's a lot better. And then you just do something totally normal, like plant some wheat, and then as soon as you come back and look around, and you're like, oh, the whole river's fine. It'll happen. It could happen. Something similar to that will probably happen. Oh yeah. And then you hit a wall and you can see all of the water inside of there disappearing. That's the good stuff right there. Because it's getting, like, real weird in here, but it's going to, like, all get better one of these moments. Probably. And we might find, like, one spot, like, maybe it's right here. Do we even have kelp here? So, like, right here is the issue. The kelp can't get any higher than that because there's a water pocket, but if we just do one of these things... And then that water pocket will totally dissipate. And then that might have been what was holding up the entire project, right? That kelp will be able to grow, and then it'll push everything out. It might not have been holding up the entire project. Another similar thing is happening right here. We can just have a similar sort of solution. You don't need to go too crazy, you know, it's if you just notice your little air pocket, just a little bit of normal dirt placement should get you sorted out in no time. Hey, Colin. Yes, indeed, all the wheat. Deep underground rivers for the Ninja Turtles get lost and... Stop, we found one of them at least. No, I don't know if we named any of the turtles in this world. It's possible. It probably would just have been like Yertle. We did import turtles to the, what I call the Island of Scholars for historical reasons over here. That's not a beacon, it's a very large lightning rod. I don't know how to make a beacon in this world. But over there, so we took the turtles on this beach, and then we brought the eggs over to that beach over there. And that was, you can see that we have a lot of turtles here. This is where we learned turtles. This is where I learned that pumpkins are strange, you know, and everywhere is where I planted a little bit of wheat. An average amount. You know, why don't we farm some real quick? No, we're going to work on the river a little bit longer. You say YouTube compression really loves the wheat farm. You know, it's probably all the tiny little points of light upon the screen. Alright, this is the one with the creepy cave sounds, but it's actually a wonderful song. You know. We fall down. Or maybe that was the end of one, because this is a whole different song, I think. I know what this one is. Probably. I've heard this soundtrack before. I should make a shovel. Or find my shovel, but it doesn't take too long to break dirt. This is like the good old Minecraft days. I should go back and watch my old canal video with the sound off. I don't want to hear me talk. I get enough of that. I'm around me all the time. Alright, yeah, going the other way seems better, because we're going to run into that weirdness either way. I'm like, I think I jumped on that so we didn't land on the wheat. Not there, though. Very sad. No decent person will ever talk to me again. It's so weird wearing armor here, but if you're in the water, then you gotta have your armor. Because you gotta have your bootses, and then of course you gotta have your brain cage on, and then you just look silly if you don't have the rest of the armor suit on. Alright, maybe this was the weird cave sounds one that I thought it was. I don't know. We're gonna give it a chance. Normally I turn it off because I'm like, what are these sounds? Okay, we found it. I think we won't have it going underground, though. One, it's not too much to dig out, although we'll need a shovel. But two, like, the point of the river is to be very aesthetic. And the river going underground is basically like not having a river at all in that section. And we're obviously gonna build it. I thought it was an armadillo. Yeah, we gotta go get a shovel. But where, Precious? Where would I have put it? There's only so many places I would have put my stuff. It's probably not up here. I guess I could just make another iron shovel. We don't need like a good shovel. Hey, sticks. We'll make another iron shovel. We don't need a good shovel. Like, I guess like all my diamonds are over in the village. Forgive me, wheat. I had to. Now the boat can get lost in here too. Very good. I'm like, why did I think that was gonna work? I'm like, oh, we just had like one block to get through. There we go. So like an arch of wheat over the top of some of it, very good. You know, we don't need that not to be there. Obviously that can stay. A land bridge, a wheat bridge, if you will. And even if you won't, it remains a wheat bridge. You said there's a wheat pun in there somewhere. Oh, certainly. When I first started this series, I was torn between how funny I thought it was to call it just wheat and then just like, you know, just do wheat, or do like a different wheat themed thing every time. And I decided, because I'm very lazy, that it would both be very funny and much lower effort to just keep the same title forever. Although, of course, this one isn't exactly the same title. And here, we don't even need this, I just want to do it, you know. You want a little bit of depth to your river, otherwise it's just a canal. Because here we have all of that space that was already filled in, so it's actually quite a nice little connection. So we didn't have to make any of this, you know, that came stock. Hello, Modabeast. How are you? Welcome to the world of wheat. You can't tell right now because I'm underwater, but there's actually wheat here. We don't need any of this to have kelp, though, right? Just this little middle section. Yeah. Because all of this won't have any flow, because all of this is source blocks from when the world was born. Yeah, one panel is too narrow, but we can just leave the little stair steps, and that will be very aesthetic. Very aesthetic indeed. Oh no, the wheat. Oh no, Luke. The terrible puns. Didn't want to go against the grain. Oh no, they're all so terrible. You should feel bad. No, it's, so, like, in general, like, I don't love puns. Certainly not as much as people that really like them do. Like, sometimes I think they're uproariously funny, but generally it's, like, not, like, my thing. But I love, you know, like, I love all sorts of parody and musical comedy and little, like, slight things and, you know, stuff like that. So, like, anything that, like, sounds like it could be, like, a silly Weird Al lyric and a song about wheat is always good, you know? So, like, I can't say I don't like puns, because actually I like thousands of them. Like, how are we gonna solve this? I mean, this kelp will just have to grow. It'll take friggin' ages, but it'll work. Couple dozen blocks. Say it depends on the mood you think more so the puns, but especially the really dumb ones. There's time and place. Yeah, It's all about the context, I guess. Like, I had a friend, I have a friend, you know, but, he will choose any, like, convoluted, like, excuse to tell, just a very groan-worthy pun. Like, to him, that's the highest form of caring about a person, is to craft, like a 4-minute long joke that's just not that funny. Like, if you're familiar with Norm Macdonald, And he has like the joke about the frog getting alone. Like that's this guy's favorite joke in the whole world. And in any way, that joke does make me laugh, but I still hate it, right? You know. And if you're not familiar with that joke, check it out. I bet you'll really like it. Yeah, just you know, like you can tell how much fun they had because you have the idea that you're getting a regular joke, and they know right when you expect the payoff to be there. It's the silliest thing ever. And here we get water in there, and we'll be able to grow up through that, hopefully. Because if you get a water source block to the right and underneath it, then it'll push flowing water above it into a source. Because you only need, you know, two blocks around it to become sourced. I don't think kelp needs light to grow. I've been wrong before. Hello there, gunslinger. How are you? You are back. Oh, hello, Bobby. I was like, I thought I recognized the little cowboy hat picture there. I don't normally note the icons, but that one, I was like, I think I recognize that one, you know, due to its, you know, charming nature. In here, I think we can just, like, go plant wheat for a while, and, see, there's also another variant. Want to see? Sure. Why not? Oh, nice. It looks like what it would look like to be me in Red Dead Redemption 2, a game where I played very poorly pretty often. I would alternate between like understanding how the game worked and being very annoyed at how the game worked. And like, no, I don't want this scene to end how you want it to end. I want to shoot the guys. I had some pretty serious denial problems going on whenever I was playing Red Dead. I'm like, I can already tell where this is going, and I don't want it to go there. I want a different life. Can I have that? And they're like, no. No, you can't. Exactly. I'm like, I'll just leave him in the jail cell. Let me walk away. They're like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, but have you met him? Like, this guy is not excellent. Just let me get rid of him. You'll see. Yeah, I didn't play Red Dead when everybody else was playing it. I just played it this last year for the old internet, and you know it was just a wonderful time. But there were a few times because I haven't played. I guess they're called like GTA likes. I hadn't played any. I played the first Grand Theft Auto, which was not not like the other ones. Or rather, I played the demo for the first Grand Theft Auto for like 100 hours. On my Windows 98 PC. Hello, IS Nostalgia. What's up? Thinking without Mike Dutch would have found some other annoying or treacherous psychopath to tear apart the game with. Yeah, I quite agree. Which is just another mark of good storytelling. I remember like. Because I didn't, have, like, a background or whatever, but, like, whenever, he gives the speech in the snow, and I'm already like, alright, there's enough going on here with, like, the psychological manipulation and, like, the sort of architecture of persuasion that you can get from someone who's manipulating people on purpose. And then, when you get to the first major campsite and you can find his speech written and see that he was rehearsing it and see that all of the vulnerability that he's expressing is all planned, and it's just like the game is like, no, like if you want to see that he is definitely always being a manipulator, it's all right here. But some people don't read the letters and they would never know, or rather not immediately know. Look, you can't trust a guy in a fine hat and a mustache. That's why I don't wear a hat. You say they need a Red Dead 3? Well, I'm sure that they are aware that there would be a hunger for it. Yeah, like, is this whole thing, like, slightly too far down? It's fine if it is. It doesn't have to be sea level. That'll buff right out later. But, is it really not? And we're just gonna do some kelpening. Everybody knows that some kelpening is what you need. You ask if I'd be open to answering a question? I mean, theoretically. Usually if somebody asks a question I don't want to answer, I just ignore it, so you can tell by my reaction if the question is permissible, I suppose. But yeah, in general, I don't mind being asked questions. Just, don't ever ask a question that you can't tolerate the answer to. That's what I tell my mother. So there's not much story left to tell unless they get separated completely from the Vandalin gang. And then if they do, is it really RDR3? Yep, I guess that's an interesting question because I didn't play the first one, but I totally oblivious to the fact that, Red Dead 1 is like, John Marston going on. I was like, this feels like the prologue of a different, very excellent game, when you're out there in the mountains, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in, and set up the home state and stuff. Yes, I believe in Jesus. I am not a Christian. This is my new profile picture? Yeah, we got it. Somebody showed up in one of these wheat streams and made this excellent profile picture for us not too long ago. We should plant some wheat over there on the side of the river and honor the river by filling up these boxes with a bunch of random trash that isn't wheat. I don't think I have any seeds. No, I don't have any seeds. But yeah, isn't it just the most wonderful picture? I think it is. Yes, their name is Ordinary Cheese Pizza Guy, and they still come around sometimes. But yeah, no, they you know, they were in a stream, and they're you know, just like a lot of people, they're like, hey, it's kind of ordinary. Don't you think about getting something else? I'm like, I mean, not really. Haven't been playing Geometry Dash lately. No, well, you know, I've been playing a bunch of stuff that I have found very, very fun, and I wasn't having that much fun with Geometry Dash, and also, like, it's not good for my hands. There's a lot of stuff that keeps me from playing it, honestly. It's, yeah, I played it for like 160 hours. It's a long time to play a game that, like, that I'm not in love with, I guess, you know, like, because there's not a story or anything, and more importantly, there's not really the ability for me to tell my own stories, because there's not like a story in Minecraft, but I have built my stories, you know, and most of the games that I play have at least enough to, like, chew on in the world where I can write my own little narratives about what I'm doing. If it's a game about strategy and war, or a game about knights and castles, or a game about wheat, you know, I can you know, tell my little stories. But if it's a game about Sir Green Blockington, there's only so much I can do. Am I gonna do something with all the hay blocks I'm accumulating? I was thinking that we would build a very giant wheat sculpture and see, so, you know, when we build the Temple of Wheat, which, you know, probably isn't going to happen soon, but theoretically we could do it any time because it's good, you know, because we have satisfied the prerequisite. Then, you know, over here where the mountain without wheat on it is, we're gonna, yeah, exactly, like a Wickerman type of thing. And then build a giant hay thing, a giant hay sculpture, and then try to, like, build a machine, or, like, I need to see if, like, flaming arrows will set it on fire. But yeah, we want to see if I can, like, burn the whole thing down. I don't know how fire spread works or whatever, but like, I'm squinting at Luke's profile picture. It just looks like a guy. I can't see what it is. But anyway, most people's profile picture, unless it's like a very, very obvious symbol thing, like I can barely, because it's like, it's small on my other screen, and I rarely have the... I found my shovel! Good news, guys. I don't really think I need it anymore, but I found it. This is where we kept our sword at. Good. You know, let's go mend up, now that we've got our sword. And if you thought YouTube didn't like the compression of this wheat field, wait until I show you the field of 1,000 cows. You'll never guess how it got its name. But before we get there, I don't think I should ever fix this. I think I should leave it this way forever. Because we were trying to build, this is where the first canal, this canal that we eventually learned how to make, this is where this was attempting to be. So you can see how, like, what an absolute mess it was, right? And we had, like, this space underneath here where it was even messier. And then this, we had, like, it dug into the wall here. This whole, like, system where we were trying to get it to come in. And then one of my friends told me about how you could use a bucket. And then we learned how to make a canal, but I never ever came to this side of the lake or the river, because we connected all of this, you know. It used to be a different world before I got a hold of it. First of all, there was less wheat. Look, I have found the cows. There are several of them. Of course, this is a much faster way. I say it's faster, man. It's slowing down my computer. No. It's just slowing down my eyes. The computer's fine, right? Yeah, she's purring. She's still got all the speed. She ain't hot or nothing. It's a nice, cool as a cucumber computer here. Sometimes the computer whirs, like on Total War when you're fighting Skaven. And I'm like, please don't set it on fire. Yeah, a couple cows. This is just... this is probably like 1,800 here. It's a little too many for the field, you know. Obviously, like, it's a little more optimized for like 1,000, but... 1,000 used to be like the number that I tried to keep it at, but that was long ago before we were on this road, right? Evan Daly says someone who ate yoga mats like I tell you to not turn into a flatbread. Well, you know, I always thought that might not immediately happen, but life is very long, and perhaps you'll turn into a flatbread later, or not. Alright, we're just gonna keep on putting our beef and leather into boxes. Should we flatbread and hope you turn into a yoga mat? I think the way to turn into a yoga mat is to eat rice and do yoga. Oh, I'm like, why can't I throw this out of my inventory? Because I'm spectating. One hand you want blocks of meat, but the other mangroves looks like that. Yeah, look, you can't shout this out, but I want blocks of rotten meat, you know? I think you should be able to climb using them. I think you should be able to build like a weird Ares-themed house. I can see maybe why in a game like Minecraft they wouldn't want to let you do that. Here's my house made out of blocks of beef. Look, if they give bamboo a block, they can give raw pork a block. The Wickerman stuff with raw beef flux. Yeah, we can put it in a chest, and then when the chest burns, the the offering will be pleasing to the temple. Evan, you say, how much have you missed? Oh, not lots. We've been working on rivers mainly. We haven't been doing tons of this. We're at just 300, just about 302,000 wheat seeds planted. So, you know, you probably haven't missed more than 10 or 15,000. Put some ice in the middle and it's a hot pocket. That's too funny. Oh man. You know, now I've entirely transitioned from being a hot pocket eater to being a pizza roll eater, and pizza rolls have the benefit of individually having the same problem that hot pockets have. And isn't that nice? Yeah, I've just been having such a good time. I'm so glad I finally started playing Total War on YouTube rather than just by myself. Although, honestly, there's a lot of, like, unique frustrations of playing it with an audience, but it's still... I'm still glad that I started doing it. It's been a lot of fun. Oh yeah, Evan, we did have the day 700 party in the hardcore world, for sure. Yep, that was the other day. It was a good one. You know, we laughed, we cried. We sang. We didn't. Oh, what? No. Good news, I've put my pickaxe somewhere, probably into these boxes. I probably exchanged this position with the sword, which sounds smart if you're an idiot. Wait, where did I... Here we go. We'll just put the sword back here and forget about it forever. What could ever go wrong? So who figures the best at making healer balls? And yeah, we were talking about that the other day. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Just because with the reliability of Oath Gold turning into legitimately wonderful items, just like the one you mentioned, and there's some other like real winners, you know, in there, because you can get, I think, what, like that 10% ward save character rune. You know, you can get any amount of those. But yeah, Tammy's, you know, exactly. You put the nail on the head there. He's sort of a one-note wonder there. But the Slayers, especially, like, yeah, man, I can't. I'm still, like, in awe of the fact that I got the Blessing of the Lady on Gotrek, and I'm like, I need to find a way to cheese this at the beginning of a campaign. Oh man, that would be so good. But if I actually ever get good at Empire, I'm nowhere close to it, but, you know, I could definitely see it being, you know, the sort of the the last faction I ever play type of thing. I really like how versatile they are. I just, you know, I also hate how versatile they are, because I wish they had more elite infantry to let me get away with shenanigans. Say you never got that location of interest? I've seen it before in a map, but I like, you know, you've seen me play, so you know my style is not to keep a bunch of guys in a province with high public order, you know, it's not really my way, so yeah. The vineyard, yeah, it definitely is more boring. And then I got like the witch hunter one the other week. There's a couple, like we got the ranger outpost, which is fine, and it can be very good for like hidden armies and stuff. And then like, you know, the free garrison too is, you know, decent. But listen to the lady on, on Heroes or Lords, like that's legitimately wonderful. Like there's like 15% ward save before you break. Most of the time you're not going to have a hero break at all, and the best ones are unbreakable anyway. Or like that on this Steam Tank Lord, he's already a tank. And, like, you know, they're already characters, and now you've just given them another, like, whole faction special thing. You say you might fall asleep while watching this because you're still deprived. Well, you know, sleep is good. Sleep is good for you. I encourage you to get some, but I definitely know what it's like to watch something on YouTube to fall asleep, so I'll try to avoid any sudden movements or invigorating sounds. Isn't this nice? So inside of this one pocket here, we've got wheat planted inside the wall, and I think that's beautiful. We should do that a couple more times. We could do it right here. This is gonna, oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there. So we'll be able to go through. How is there enough light for it to grow? Doesn't matter. 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. It's USA time. USA time. There's a lot of times in the USA, my friend. Have I ever seen the Chilean trading company one? I don't think so. Look, there's so many times when I would have seen that message and I would have thought, it's a Skaven Undercity, I don't care. You know? Like, I'm not gonna spend my money caring. And then I'm always like, why are they doing Menace Below on me? Why are Skaven so powerful? Blah, blah, blah. Oh man, in our Elspeth campaign this morning when we were playing, we had like, so we stopped, there was a couple like Skaven armies, but it turned out that, you know, of course they had the ruins, and of course Queek was there too, so we had like a big battle. It was very epic, very excellent, and we won. But you know, we were acting sort of smart for a lot of it. It went very well. I had a blast. I just had like a super good time. Hey Orange Froggy, how are you? Good to see you. You get an offer to sell the settlement, you leave for 20,000 gold. Oh, that's fun. I mean, unless it's something that you want. But if you can, like, convince them to be your allies and stuff, then that could be really wonderful. Depending on what faction you are and where it is, you know. Be like, hey, now we can resurrect them and... Potatoes really got paid? Awesome! Awesome! This is like your first job type job, right? Yeah, there's no feeling like seeing that they're really gonna pay you what they said they would. And then also how it's a little bit less on account of how the government has to get their piece. But, you know, it's still very nice. Often, whenever I'm at work, I think, they're gonna pay you. It's not gonna be today, but it's gonna be soon. And if you just keep on working, they're gonna pay you. That's what keeps me going. First proper paycheck, that's awesome, dude. Congratulations. No, it feels good. Same for a car. Yep, that's a good project. Of course, it takes a little while, or it can, but, you know, very... Unfortunately, in my opinion, but very important to have a car. I mean, I live, you know, in Arkansas. There's not a lot of public transportation or anything, but I know most places in my country aren't that good in that regard. Like, I remember in New York, like, the people I knew who were, like, from there, and they're just like, I don't want to take the subway, though. And I'm like, but... Like, we can just stay here. I'm like, but all we have to do is take the subway and, like, go for an hour and we can be somewhere cool. And they're like, no, I'm just going to stay here. You say you want to live in New York City? I don't. I can't make it there. I can't make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York. No, I liked the city very much when I spent a little bit of time there, but if I go outside and all I see is concrete and steel and humans, I find it very distressing. I grew up in the country, right? Like, I need to see grass and trees. It's not a thing you think about until you don't have it. Because I like to spend a ton of my time inside anyway, but when I go outside, it needs to look right. Say there's gonna be a time when I harvest all the wheat to see how much bread it can make. No, I don't think we'll ever just like harvest the wheat. That would be a real villain video. Just me like silently here, flames in the background, just walking through the whole field, systematically cutting it all down. And then you see, I've created a world backup. Bum, bum, bum. No, I wouldn't do that. It would make me sad to burn it all down, even in pretend. Can't solve the Earth uncertainty. Sure to the Earth, yeah. You know, well, that's what I was thinking with the pillagers in the hardcore world. You know, very Carthago de Landa est, but just like Cato pointed out, the pillagers must be destroyed, and I mean, we all know that Rome didn't put salt under the ground. First of all, that'd be dumb, and second of all, they didn't do it. But, you know, plant some wheat, that would be okay. Guys, do you guys remember when Tiberius Gracchus was the first guy over the walls at Carthage? I wonder how Rome ended up treating him. Just a little bitterness for your afternoon. You know, just me waking up mad about the Gracchis since, I don't know, 1991 maybe. I was 5 or 6 when I heard the story, and I'm like, but they sound great! If I ever did a time loop game, it would be where you were trying to like save Tiberius Gracchus, and you know, you only had the one day to try to like make your preparations, and of course you never could, no matter what. And that would be the moral of the story. But I was working on this poem, actually, about the guys that hold the bridge there when the mob is coming for Tiberius. Because, you know, there's just these two of Tiberius's friends, you know, and they're holding this bridge that's the last thing, you know, standing between these mercenaries bearing arms inside of Rome itself and all, and, you know, and Tiberius, who's fled to this sort of sacred grove across the way, you know, hoping that the pious sensibilities of the ravening mob will protect him, and it won't. And his friends hold this bridge against, you know, foes for a while, and then eventually fall. And there's already been poems written about it and stuff. I thought I could do one too, and then I ended up not finishing it. Like, dang, yes. And Three Kingdoms history, yeah. I love that era of stuff. They have really wonderful stories there too, for sure. I think actually, like, the most wonderful, like, just like sheer, like, hero stuff you get in a story, like, it's all from China and in that time period, right? You know, like, no matter how smart you try to make a general look, these stories about Su Liang are going to blow him out of the water. But anyway, didn't know I was going to talk about him today, but you know, the Graki are always on my mind. But the premise of the poem was going to be, you know, the two guys, they're standing on the bridge, you know, and fighting against the foes, and essentially just like talking mad trash while they're there, you know. They'd be using like staffs or something, you know. Obviously they wouldn't have swords because they're proper Roman citizens and they're not, like, you know, they wouldn't have been armed in the first place. So they would be castigating the others, you know, for their stuff, you know, and knocking them off and talking all sorts of trash, talking about how if they were armed and armored, you know, they never would be able to stand up against them. That kind of thing. And then when it became, like, clear that everything was going bad, they would start, you know, boasting of all the things that they had done. And one of the guys would, you know, say all these boastful things, but he would be saying it would be, the premise is that, like, one guy is saying his companion's names the whole time whenever he's boasting, sort of like, you know, praising his friend before they fall. And then, you know, they trade accolades a little while they're fighting against the foes, and then the mercenary leader shows up, you know, somebody shoots one of them with an arrow or whatever, and then one of the mercenaries jokes, you know, oh, I guess that's the end of that guy. And then the leader, you know, tears in his eyes or whatever, says something along the lines of, no, that's the other one, and says his name, and then the last guy dying like Boromir with the arrows in him will be, you know, and he'll just do like a couple more lines of praise, and then like jump into the river probably. Like I said, I didn't finish the mock-up. I just wrote some of the dialogue and then I abandoned the project because I'm very lazy. And the best part of being a bad poet is if you just don't write the poem, it doesn't even count as being bad. You're saying a lot of those Su Liang stories get misattributed. Oh yeah, for sure. But they're still very good stories. It's like, I don't care how much of Plutarch may not be 100% factually accurate. It's very good. Zhao Yun, oh yes, yeah. The thing where he went and saved his son? Exactly, yeah, like really big hero stuff. And even, of course, you know, things that are impossible, like Guan Yu's amazing ride on Red Hair, you know. He probably still rode a horse really far. Guan Yu is, of course, a bodhisattva in the Buddhist faith, and you can often see his image in Chinese restaurants and such for that reason. With his trademark green robes and very, very red face, he is usually stylized. And his spear shows up in the video game Hades, where I became incredibly delighted. It wasn't a super good item, but I was very happy to find it. Yeah, you say ignoring that he couldn't have ridden the horse that long because horses don't live that long. He was also more impressive in history than romance. Yes, for sure. I am. What a champion. But because I was like a young child, like 4 or 5, whenever I first got my exposure to that, because there was a JRPG called Destiny of an Emperor, and I loved it. I didn't have it, my uncle had it, but I loved it. Yeah, in the novel he has another just charges in and leaves sort of thing. Yeah, it's sort of like they feel like as an author, you know, if we do 2 or 3 of this story, it'll start to feel like it's not even happening. Hey, Sun Wukong, how are you? Am I gonna make that Ravenna River too? I don't know. Maybe. It sort of wants to be one, right? But I think we probably will, just because it'll be prettier than not having one. Alternately, what do? We cover the bottom in wheat and then plant wheat there? I mean, that does seem like an awesome idea, doesn't it? It does. I was like, that might have been a little high, but I have the boots on, so we're fine. Man, the Falling Leaves update was a good one. They drop a little frequently because of how many trees there are in Minecraft. I think if it was a little bit less frequent, that could be better, but it's still pretty good. This is vanilla. Or as I call it, wheat flavored. Oh no, the wheat. It'll be okay. It had to happen. For visibility. At least some of it. Yeah, all of this is like too short. But that'll be like okay. When all of this grows, it should all push. Just might take a long time. Fortunately, we have lots of time. You say it's not for me? Oh yes, it is midnight 45. We're going to be ending pretty soon. I've probably gone on a little longer than I should have, in truth. Oh, I forgot. I was like, I lost the bed. But anyway, there we have it. The river. Now we might need to make it a little bit longer, because just even like at 3 panels, it seems a little... Yeah. Then we get to those weird walls, and there's no way a person would have made those on purpose. But anyway. I guess that's all I've got for you right now. It's time for me to go to bed, unfortunately. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Really hope you've enjoyed. Good night, Luke. Good night, Kong. Good night, Smiley Nathan. Good night, Orange Froggy. Good night, Evan. Good night, Rubbid Steve. Good night, Gunslinger. Good night, everybody. If you're watching in the future, I hope the weather is nice. And anyway, that's all I've got for you right now. Perhaps I'll see you in another streamer video. I'll probably be streaming something tomorrow morning, in another 8 hours or so. But I will have work after that. But anyway, that's enough of all of that. Appreciate all of you hanging out. It's always good to see you guys and chat a bit and stuff. And hope you had a good time. Anyway, good night, everyone.